the bylaw is like, I thought I read taxi. It was like, aren't we having a meeting about taxi? It's like, must have been half asleep this morning when I read that.
I did the same thing the other night there, so I don't feel bad.
And we're live.
Thank you, Stace. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of council for May 18th. Wow, already. So I am going to call the meeting to order, and you have before you a copy of tonight's agenda. We do have an addition under 7A, an excused absence for Councillor Chambers. I'm looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Oh, Councillor Dufert, seconded by Councillor Anderson. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 3 is any declarations of interest tonight? None being noted. Moving on to item number 4, announcements, awards, ceremonies, and presentations. Anything from council? Councillor Dowie, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. First, I wasn't here at the meeting last week, so I just want to take a second to say thanks and express my gratitude to all the people that were involved in the EMO efforts there during the breakup. It was obviously went fairly well for us, but could have gone either way. So just wanted to say thank you to everybody that was involved in those efforts, and also thanks to Deputy Mayor Bouchard for keeping us updated of what was going on there. He was good there at providing those updates for all of us, so it was much appreciated. And also I just want to thank administration and everyone else involved also in welcoming the evacuees from Fort Simpson last week. I definitely not something that you ever want to see happening in another community, but I think with the realization that it could just as easily be us in that situation, it's nice that we're able to host people from those other communities that can come here, and we can hopefully take some of the stress and burden away from them. So just thanks for everybody that's involved in those efforts.
Thank you. Councillor Dufert?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to speak, I'm sure, for all of us in congratulating Councillor Dowie on his new arrival to his family. As we were saying, a future ratepayer for the town of Hay River. So congratulations, Keith, from all of us.
Thanks, Councillor Dufert. Anything further from council? Passing it over to SAO Smith.
Thanks, Your Worship. No announcements from us. Do you want me to start the administrative inquiries?
Yeah, we'll move on to administrative inquiries, and again, passing it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Let's get my video going. So certainly the theme the last few weeks has been around water. It seems to be continuing with a lot of our activities that we were working on right now from several perspectives, but I'll let the directors give updates on those and other items. So we will start with the Director of Finance, please.
Thank you and good evening, Your Worship. No major updates this evening from Finance and Administration. We've completed our draft of the Q1 financials and have the final version of our 2020 statements, which we're going to be bringing to Finance Committee either the latter part of this week or early next week, depending on scheduling. Also, we're continuing work towards our June 10th tax sale. So there's still numerous properties that will be that are on the delinquent list. So property owners have an opportunity to redeem those properties to get them off the list anytime before June 10th. The process does allow for property owners to redeem a property if it does get sold at auction up to 30 days afterwards. However, they will continue to incur interest, penalty charges, and legal costs. This year, we're going to be allowing for attendance at that event, both in person at the council chambers and via Zoom meeting. So we'll be posting some more details about how to access that Zoom meeting and some of the rules surrounding that event via Facebook and on our webpage. That concludes my updates for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any director or any questions for our Director of Finance? None being noted. Thank you, Director, and back to SAO Smith.
Thank you, Worship. We'll go next to the Director of Protective Services. Ross is now passed the torch on to Travis in terms of attendance at the council meetings. So we were happy to have Travis here today on his first report to council.
Thank you, Worship. I don't have much to report, just still continuing to train with Ross and all the different operational program areas, getting some of the programs transferred over to me and the different databases that are used. Our 1001 fire training program students are training several times a week over the next couple of weeks just to prepare for the upcoming practical tests at the end of May. This past weekend, 6 students passed mental health first aid course on the weekend. And the other thing to update is we'll be working to organize an EMO debrief to review the 2021 breakup season.
Thank you. Any questions for our Director of Protective Services? They're taking it easy on you. First. Thanks, Director. Back to SAO Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship, the Director of Recreation and Community Services.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Just a few updates tonight. No real changes to programming at this time. Numbers remain steady for the pool, multi-sport drop-in, and after-school programming. We continue to receive good feedback that way, and we're happy with how things are going in the shoulder season. We have a draft of an application of area that we'll submit to the GNWT Public Health or Environmental Health, for updated guidelines and occupancies, COVID occupancies for the community center. That should be submitted tomorrow, I believe. We are putting quite a bit of effort and time in preparing for summer programming. This includes a summer sports field user group meeting this Thursday. Communications have started with those summer sports field user groups, which are mostly softball groups and some youth soccer groups also. We're looking at our summer scheduling and ensuring that those groups know how to schedule their events and plan for special events and ensure they're aware of the recreation policies and procedures. We also have staffing updates regarding summer programming. We had maintenance had 2 full-time summer students start with us Monday. That joins some of our other summer students that were working part-time to this point. We do also have some job postings that are closing on May 25th. The one that we're primarily looking to fill as soon as possible is the trail project foreman position. Received interest from at least one local candidate and trying to see if we can do a bit more recruitment this week to fill that position. We have lifeguard and senior lifeguard positions that remain open. And just a reminder to council that is more recruitment in expectation of needs for staffing in September and October. We should be fine for staffing for the summer. We also have planning. We're also planning training for those summer students for the maintenance crews. That includes some of the typical safety training with regards to the equipment they use throughout the summer. We're looking at beach attendant training for our lifeguards to keep that updated and in anticipation of a possible partnership with GNWT regarding a beach attendant program again this summer. And our summer heat play leaders will be participating in some training that's offered by Mackenzie Rec Association with a general theme of recreation leadership and youth programming. Rec Committee met last week and reviewed some of the documents and preparations for the summer season. Tourism and Economic Development Committee met at lunch today with some similar purposes. The minutes and some of the recommendations that were passed by those committees will be passed on to council for information. I don't believe there's anything that requires council's approval coming out of those meetings. The Wharf Pavilion expression of interest closed on Friday. We received 2 applications. Committee was formed as part of staff and Tourism and Economic Development Committee members for review and selection as per the EOI selection process. We do expect to meet by the end of the week and meet the deadline of May 21st to award that contract. Vale Island mowing expression of interest was advertised Friday. It closes May 28th. We hope to fill that as was done in previous years. The expression of interest was very similar to what was advertised in previous years. Lastly, I'd just like to update council on some funding applications. First, we submitted our annual funding application to MACA for youth and rec programming. It also supports some of our small capital projects. We expect to receive similar funding from our initial conversations with MACA representatives. And we'll update council once we receive feedback on those applications and contribution agreements. We are submitting summary and expression of interest to, I believe it's a MACA representative for an ISIP, new initiative from ISIP for ventilation retrofit projects. We've identified 4 or 5 potential projects at recreation facilities and assets. We'll be following up with a discussion initially and then submitting a description of the possible projects with general budgets. That's all they're asking for at this point. So we'll submit that by Friday. And then our summer cap application is due May 30th. I'll be working on that later this week and submitting an application based on discussions we've already had with GNWT infrastructure representatives. Excuse me. Those are my updates at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for our Director of Recreation? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I'm just wondering if we're hearing any discussion on expansion of some of our facilities as far as capacity wise, whether that's the Doug Wiedemann Hall or whether that's outdoor events or the swimming pool type stuff. Are we, like, I know the public health or chief officer said that maybe at the end of May, but I'm not sure if anybody's hearing anything new, I guess.
Back to Director of Recreation.
Yeah, I did hear some, I guess what I should say is that we had the representative from GNWT Environmental Health that toured the facilities in early April. We had some discussion regarding our application of area that we will be submitting hopefully tomorrow. That speaks to the occupancies within our community center, everything from the aquatic center to the rental rooms to the ice surfaces. I'm very satisfied with the feedback I initially received and the verbal commitments that I've received with regards to guidelines. It includes increases to occupancies in just about every space and reducing restrictions on some of the things like shower use in the aquatic center, viewing areas having increased occupancy. So I'm satisfied that the initial verbal commitments we had are going to meet our needs for the summer. With regards to, excuse me, summer programming, from discussions with our user groups, there doesn't seem to be a need for anything increased from last year's allowances. They seem comfortable that they can operate according to those allowances, but I have heard that the GNWT was initially planning an announcement in April with regards to their new emerging wisely guidelines. But I think that was delayed by the Yellowknife COVID cases and those realities. But no firm commitments as to when they would commit that or communicate those updates.
Yeah, and just for a little follow-up, there were no cases in Yellowknife today, so that's good news. And the last meeting I had with Dr. Candola, she was indicating hopefully the end of May, we should be hearing more. So I'm expecting something in the next little while. Any further questions from council for our Director of Recreation? None being noted, back to SEO Smith. Thanks, Director.
Thank you, Your Worship, the Director of Public Works and Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the public works side of things, as you're all aware, I'm sure, we are in a boil water advisory right now. That went into effect on Sunday afternoon. Our water was fine Sunday morning and then took a turn around midday on Sunday and got a lot worse. And so now we're in that. We are working on doing some testing and analysis of the water, working through potentially a lab out of Edmonton just to see if there's anything any different chemicals or reagents that we could use that might help us. This was one of the recommendations coming out of the MAC report from last year. We were waiting until our water got to this bad quality in order to send it out so that they could test it at its worst, I'll say, in order to come up with the proper chemicals that might be able to help us out. So we are moving forward with that right now. Other issues on public works side, we're identifying and working on addressing some issues coming from breakup. So there was some damage to the road out to the water treatment plant. That road is going to need some work, as well as Alaska Road out in West Point. Some issues with those that we're working on coming up with plans for fixing the roads. A lot of standing water still all around Vail Island that we've been working on getting it to flow, helping it in some cases with some pumps. Other water issues, we had a water break in the water line in Neville Place last week. That one we did get repaired, and just this morning have another water break that was found on Woodland right at the corner of Campsell. So we'll be working on getting that one fixed this week in the next couple of days. Also this week, the street sweeper will be out clearing our streets off. We have gotten some a little bit of notice out on Facebook just of areas that it will be working on in town so that residents can get their vehicles moved out of the way and we can get the sand and dirt off the roads. Next week, starting on the Tuesday after the long weekend, the curbside cleanup will begin. We will be starting in the downtown area this year and then moving from, I guess, the south end of downtown up and then out through Vail Island. And then the last couple areas will be Delancey Estates and Paradise Gardens and further out down the highway. Also happening this week, surveyors are in town doing the legal survey for Fraser Place. So getting the legal survey of those lots done so that can be registered. And finally, happy to announce that we have hired a new general foreman, a guy by the name of Phil Vokey out of Newfoundland. He should be up here starting with us probably around mid-June. We don't have an exact date yet, but good news that we finally got that position filled. Those are my updates for this week. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for our Director of Public Works? None being noted. Thank you, Director, and back to SEO Smith.
Thank you, Worship. Just a few points I'll add in a very random order. Just to add to the Director of Public Works comments on the breakup assessments. We are in contact with both our insurance company and the GNWT to understand their roles in assessment and in any cost coverage. Has been it was a busy weekend. Excuse me. As on Saturday we accepted the Fort Simpson evacuees. We accepted 27 evacuees from Fort Simpson into Hay River. So our role is to provide accommodations, transportation, meals, recreation, registration, and communications. Again, another thanks to the Hay River Health and Social Services for their assistance. Again, great crew came together and worked to support us in the registration. Good news is hearing today from MACA that the planned intention is for them to return to their homes tomorrow. So we wish them all the best there. We'll assist with the registration and transportation to the airports and get them on their way. And just to note that the costs, so we did have evacuees staying in the hotels. Those costs, all the costs are being covered by the government of the Northwest Territories. We will be still issuing our thank you ad for the EMO and all the volunteers that supported the breakup activity. We have gone out, I think the ad went out this morning for our human resource manager for recruitment to that position. It's our HR manager's final day this Friday. So we'll be saying farewell to her. I've been getting some training on the HR processes, recruitment and payroll audit, etc. So I will be providing assistance until we are able to bring someone on staff. And spending some more time getting acquainted with and talking to various parties and committees on our power franchise agreement and the transfer associated with that, the remaining stages that are left in that process. We are going to submit an application. The GNWT announced that they are launching a financial support or a grant program to support community level promotion of COVID vaccine programs. So, something I guess added to our plate that I think given some of the reports that we're seeing on vaccination levels within the community, with slightly over 50% of eligible population now vaccinated, I think it's important that we do our part to support what I think is primarily a GNWT's role, but nonetheless, we will do our part and submit an application for funding, and we should be able to receive $10,000 for that. Some more to come, and hopefully some partnerships that will help encourage those who have not received their vaccinations to do so. Our community plan amendment that seeks to rezone the area on Vail Island that we've identified for residential lots has gone out for consultation with the local Indigenous groups. So communication has gone out to West Point First Nations, the Métis, and KFN with a deadline for input on that, and some language changes actually as well to the communication or to the community plan. So expect, I think the deadline is early June. Also did get notice from the GNWT, from the Department of Housing specifically, that they're working on our terms of reference for the community housing plan that we've indicated we'd like to work with them on this year. And we have executed our ICIP funding agreement. That was the one for the water treatment plant feasibility project. So we're executing that now, and the Director of Public Works and Services will be working towards sort of establishing the scope and determining what we do to fund the gap that we had between the funding and our application amount. So that concludes my update and our update for administration.
Thank you. Any questions for our SAO? Okay, none being noted, moving on to item, and thank you, SAO Smith. Moving on to item 6A, regular meeting of council minutes dated April 26, 2021. Looking for a motion to adopt. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll move that the council of Town of Haver accepts the regular meeting council for April 26, 2020 as presented,
2021.
or 2021, sorry.
Seconded by Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the minutes? Being noted, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. 6B, emergency meeting of council minutes dated May 7th, 2021. Looking for a motion. Councillor Dufert, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move that the Council of the Town of Hay River accept the minutes of the emergency meeting of council that was held on Friday, May the 7th, 2021.
Thank you. Seconded by? Deputy Mayor, any questions? None being noted, all in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item 7A, excused absence for Councillor Chambers. Councillor Dewey?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move that Council of Town of Hay River excuses Councillor Chambers from the May 18th regular meeting of council.
Thank you. Seconded by? Councillor Dufert. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 8, bylaw, 8A, bylaw 2429/tax/21. Looking for a motion. Go ahead, Councillor Willows.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move third reading of bylaw number 2429 tax-21 for the municipal corporation of the town of Hay River.
Thank you. Seconded by? Councillor Dufert. Any questions to the motion? None being noted. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 9. So before going in camera, I'm going to ask you all to turn your mics on. Do you solemnly swear and sincerely affirm that you are alone and cannot be overheard while in camera? Councillor Dowie.
So I move. Thank you, Your Worship. I swear.
Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I swear.
Councillor Willows.
I swear.
Deputy Mayor Bouchard.
I swear.
Councillor Grunewagen.
I swear.
Thank you. And Councillor Dufert.
Thank you, Your Worship. I swear.
Okay, looking for a motion to go in camera. Okay, moved by Councillor Dufert, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bouchard. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, so we'll take a quick recess. Let me just take a look at this. How about 6:03 or 7:03? We're back. Right on time.